So, welcome back, my dear students and friends. And today we'll be starting a new topic, concept and types of disaster, disaster management, and mitigation techniques, part one. So, under this, we'll be discussing about the introduction to disaster and types of disaster, natural disaster and man-made disaster. Okay, so welcome back. I'm Professor Urus Ilyas, working in Department of Wildlife Sciences, Aligarh Muslim University. And this is a mandatory course as per the Supreme Court. The course name is the Environment Education and Conservation. We have already done the fundamental of environment in our last semester. Especially for the students of the AMU have to study this course in 6th semester, the Environmental Education and Conservation. So a disaster is not just any large mishap. It is an event that seriously stops a community from living its normal life. That is the disaster. When a community is stopped living its normal life is disaster. To understand this, imagine two ingredients coming together. The first ingredient is the hazard, the physical event itself, such as ground shaking from an earthquake or rising water from heavy rainfall. The second ingredient is vulnerability, meaning people, property, or the environment are exposed in a way that leave them unprotected. So what is a disaster? The picture itself is showing the disaster means something which stops you to lead the normal life. That is the disaster. A disaster is sudden, disrupt event that seriously impair the normal functioning of a community or the ecosystem. That is the disaster. In cases widespread human, material, economic, or environmental loss that exceed the community's ability to cope using its own resources. Unlike a routine accident, a disaster combines a hazard, the potentially damaging physical events, phenomena, or human activity which vulnerability the susceptibility of the people, property of the environment. That is the disaster. Characteristic of the disaster: suddenness, scale, complex after effect, and need for external aid. So suddenness means most disasters strike with little or no warning, compressing decision making time. Scales, they impact large geographical areas or large population, simultaneously overwhelming local services. When there is a disaster, there is also overwhelming local services. Complex after effect, cascading failures such as disease, outbreak, economic downtour, uh, downtours, or civil unrest often follow the primary events. Need for external aid, of course, we need for the external aid, and that is the scale of losses frequently outstrip local responses, capacity, and demand national or international assistance. Whenever we face any disaster, we get the overwhelming response from the local, from the city, from the town, and then national and international. Government immediately announce something for the relief. They work hard for the release or to do their better. Whatever government can do, they do on the priority basis. We classify disaster in two big buckets. The natural disaster arises from Earth's own process, tectonic shift, weather system, biological outbreak. So broad classification of disaster: two, natural disaster and man-made anthropogenic disaster. So basically, natural disasters are the earthquake, volcanoes, tsunami, cyclone, flood, drought, landslide, avalanches, thunder and lightning, while the man-made disasters are the fire, building collapse, industrial hazard, transport accident, sample riots, terrorist attack. So there are two kind of disaster. One is the natural disaster, which is done by the nature, and one is the man-made disaster. So natural disaster originate from geographical, hydrological, climatological or biological process of the earth, while the man-made disaster are stem from the human intent, negligence or error, or the failure or man-made ecosystem. So we classify disaster in two big buckets. Natural disaster arise from Earth's own process, tectonic shift, weather system, biological outbreak. Man-made disaster result from human error, negligence or intent, industrial gas leak, oil spill, explosion. Human activities like deforestation and plant construction on floodplains and greenhouse gases emission often magnify natural hazards. For instance, when trees are cut from hillside, heavy rain that one soaked into roots now rushes downhill, turning a mild monsoon into a destructive flood. So when we plan for safety, we cannot just blame nature. We have to examine our choice. We have to examine our choice. Nowadays, we have recently seen the Uttarkashi flood disaster, and that was truly man-made. We clear all the forest type, and at the slanting slope, we have made the houses. A huge force, a big force of, or the cloud burst, and the river flowed with high pressure, and it swept all. So we have to uh, judge our own decision. We have to take care. We have to see our own decision, because man-made are because of us. Earthquake fundamentals. Imagine Earth crust a giant jigsaw puzzle made of thick rigid plates. It is a jigsaw puzzle made of thick rigid plates. Floating on a softener layer, these plates move only a few centimeters a year, about as fast as your fingernail grow. But they sometimes lock at their edges, storing energy like a bend spring. When they finally slip, all the stored energy is released as seismic waves, and the ground shakes. The underground rupture point in the focus of hypocenter, directly above it on the surface in the epicenter, where shaking is usually strongest. We measure energy from the moment magnitude scale. Each whole number jumps, say, from 6 to 7, release about 32 times more energy. In India, the Himalayan arc and the northeast sit on active fault, where the Indian plates keeps pushing into the Eurasia. So this is the fault plane, this is the epicenter, hypocenter. Earthquake fundamentals. An earthquake is the rapid shaking of the ground caused by the sudden release of the energy stored in the Earth's lithospheric plates. Focus, hypocenter, the subterranean point of rupture, and epicenter, the point on the surface directly above the focus, receiving the maximum shock. This is the epicenter. Whenever the news flashes that the India had the earthquake, or the North India had the earthquake, and the epicenter was Bareilly. Okay, so epicenter means the area where we have the maximum shock. Receive the maximum shock is the epicenter, and the magnitude it's measured by the movement magnitude scale. While intensity, the felt effect, it mapped by the modified Mercalli scale. The Pacific region of fire and the Himalaya alpine belt are the planet's most active seismic zone. Earthquake impact and risk reduction. Every earthquake, mostly they have the worst effect at the epicenter, because that is the area where the shock is maximum. When an earthquake hits, the primary effect in ground shaking, but a long list of secondary effects often causes more harm. Waterlogged soil may liquefy, acting like Quickistan, hillside can collapse into landslides. It's very common in the Himalayas. If you go to the Uttarakhand or Kumaon or the Garhwal, the landslide are very common. It is because of the shaking of the land. Hillside can collapse into landslide. Broken gas lines trigger fires. Undersea quake can send tsunami racing towards coastline. To reduce this risk, whatever risk we are facing because of so to reduce these risks, engineer design building that can sway without snapping, using cross bracing, shear walls, and base isolated pads. Urban planner draw microzonation map to locate hospital and schools away from active faults or liquefaction zones. Early warning system like those in Japan and recently piloted in Uttarakhand. So we have early warning system. The government keep on now these days you must be receiving some notification from the government portal from the as an SMS that today we are going to have the heavy rain. So early detection center is also there and started in the Japan. Now we have the Uttarakhand. It detect the first fast seismic wave and send alert to stop train and shut valves. Second, before the damaging wave arrives. These few seconds can save thousands of lives. Suppose there is an earthquake and just starting of the metro in Delhi, if there is an announcement, the metro can be stopped, the people can take the shelter. These few seconds can save thousands and thousands of lives. So early alarming is also there for the weather system. Now we are very advanced. We get the alarm whenever we have thunderstorm, whenever we have lightning, whenever we have rain, there is an alarm. There is a forecast that we are going to have the rain with this much of intensity. So these things government is working on, and we still have to work on these issues. So earthquake impact and risk reduction, primary effect including ground shaking, surface rupture, and tectonic uplift subsidence. And the secondary effect, often dead layers, comprises liquefaction of saturated soils, landslides, fires from ruptured gas lines, and tsunami triggered by undersea quakes. So it is mostly under sea is mostly because of it's our own activity which is creating all these problems. We are putting the pressure more and more on the earth. We are on the name of the development and food security. So there are different risk reduction measures like seismic resistance constructions. Whenever you go for the construction, that construction should be seismic resistant construction. Ductile design, shear walls, base isolation system. So if you are constructing the house, you constructing any building or bridge, the bridge should be seismic resistant construction. Land use regulation, we have to regulate the land use. That is one of the important issue, and unregulated land use is creating lots of problems. So land use regulation to avoid building on fault traces and liquefaction prone soils. Early warning network. Early warning network like Japan's EEW, early warning network, that halt trains and shut gas valves second before strong shaking arrives. So you have the warning. If you have the warning, you have the early warning system, you can save the thousands and thousands of the lives. So these are the things we have to work on to protect. With the development, we have to work on the early warning network also. Flood overview. Disaster is also a flood is also a disaster. So a flood is simply an overflow of the water onto places that are normally dry. There are several common types. Riverine flood occur when prolonged rainfall or snow melt rises river level beyond their banks. Snow melting is, you know why snow melting is going on? Because of the global warming. The temperature is increasing and there is a direct impact on the snow peaks. And when the snow peaks are melting because of the high temperature, rising temperature, the river levels are rising. And river levels beyond their banks, called as the flood. Flash floods happen within minutes of an intense cloudburst. That is also we faced this during the Kedarnath tragedy in 2014, 2013, I believe. There was a Kedarnath tragedy. Kedarnath area was most of the area was disturbed or submerged because of the cloudburst, and there was large this thing. And in fact, after that cloudburst in Kedarnath, there was a movie. Kedarnath movie was made on issues. So especially in narrow valleys or paved cities that shed water quickly, coastal flood rides in the storm surge from cyclone or tsunami. Urban floods arise when drainage is clogged or insufficient to handle heavy downpour. Warmer air from climate change holds more moisture, leading to sudden intense rainfall even while raising sea level. Push storms, surge waves, water further inland. All these factors combines to make floods India's most frequent natural disaster. A flood occurs when water overflow onto normally dry land, submerging critical infrastructure and natural habitat. Climate change driven increase in extreme precipitation and sea level rise are amplifies flood frequencies worldwide. So riverine flood results from persistent heavy rainfall or catchments. Coastal floods accompany a storm surges driven by cyclone or tsunamis. Flash floods arise from short duration, high intensity rainfall or impervious or steep terrain. Flood consequences. Flood causes a domino effect of problems. Fast water can sweep away people, animals, and vehicles. Standing water encourage mosquito and waterborne disease like cholera, crops fails, road crumble, and supply chain breaks. Raising food price, we fight flood using three toolkits: structural measures including levees, embankments, retention basin, and movable barriers like London Thames Barrier. Non-structural measures include zoning law and keep house out of floodplain. Ensure to share risk and real-time warning via river gauges and mobile alert. Nature-based solution restore wetland, mangroves, and preamble city parks. Permeable city parks. Act like sponges. Absorb and slowly release excess water. Combine all these given the most reliable protection. We know the consequences of the flood causes direct mortality, displacement, waterborne disease, agricultural loss, and infrastructure collapse. Structure control, non-structural tool, and nature-based solution. Structural control means such as levee, retention basins, and movable barriers like Thames Barrier. Non-structural tools like floodplain zoning, insurance, and community-based early warning via river gauge, telemetry, and mobile alert. Nature-based solution, restoring wetlands and riparian buffers to absorb peak flows and recharge aquifers. Forest fire fundamentals. Forest fire, also called wildfires, are uncontrolled blaze that sweep through grasses, shrubs, and trees. They require the fire triangle: fuel, dry vegetation, oxygen from air, and heat, a spark. Heat can be through the rolling stone and through the when we are traveling through the bus, usually people, when they lit their cigarette or bidi, just simply they throw the matchstick outside the bus. That is one of the major cause in the hilly areas. So heat can come from lightning, but globally, nearly 9% of ignition are human under unattended campfire, lit cigarette, power line sparks, or deliberate burning. Hot, dry, and windy conditions changes a small ground fire into a crown fire that leaps treetop to treetop, producing flames that can reach as high as 15-story building. This is the example of the forest fire. A forest fire is an uncontrolled burning of vegetation that propagates across forest or grassland area. The fire triangle, fuel, oxygen, and heat must all be present. Natural ignites, including lightning and volcanic activities, but globally, nearly 90% of the wildfire are human induced. From unattended campfire to power line sparks, drought, low humidity, and light wind spread accelerate spread rates. Forest fire impact and control, ecological effects, and socio-economic effects. Ecological effects inhibit habitat destruction but long-term nutrient recycling. Severity determines whether ecosystem rebound or transition to shrubland. When a forest is burned, whether it's a natural fire or the man-made fire, when burned, it is not only the trees, shrubs, grasses are burning, but it is the home for the wild animals. It is home for the many ground-dwelling birds, many mammals, small mammals, herpetofauna. So all they actually damaged by this. Birds still can escape if they have time, but the small ground-dwelling birds and mammals cannot, herpetofauna cannot escape from the fire. So these are the ecological effects. We do not know whether the forest is, it's all depend on the intensity of the forest. If it has vanished all the ecosystem, it will again start from the scratch. Socioeconomic effect, respiratory illness from particulate matter, properly damaged tourism, decline, and carbon emission spikes and feedback into climate changes. Control measure, early detection with satellite modest virus hotspot mapping, the drone infrared scanning, fuel management through controlled burns, pruning and removal of dead biomass, community fire watches, preachers, and awareness campaign during high risk season. So even in the forest system, we know that forest ground is covered with the litters, dried litters. So before the onset of the summers, what the forest department do, they make the fire lines. Means they clear the areas between two forests, clear off the litters, the dry leaves, and they make the line so that even if the fire is there, it should not be transferred to the the another patch, and it should not take the shape of the big fire. So we do the forest department do the make the for fire line. Man-made disaster rise from technological failures or deliberate acts. Common categories includes industrial accident like Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984, where methyl isocyanate leakage causes more than 3,000 immediate death and chronic illness. Transportation accidents, railway derailment, avoid crashes, and Martini oil spill. Conflict and terrorism. Conflict and terrorism, the sabotage of oil pipelines, cyber attack or power grid, effective prevention, hinges on robust safety culture, regulatory oversight, and emerging uh, preponderance plant within industry and multidisciplinary. So there are man-made disaster also. Modern threats include cyber attack or power grids or chemical plants. Prevention starting with a strong safety culture. Regulate inspections, workers, trainers, all these things. So think of disaster management as a clock face with four positions. At 12 o'clock is mitigation, long-term action like strengthening building, restoring mangroves, and raising land use plans. At 3 o'clock is preparedness training, volunteers shocking supplies and running drills so people act automatically under stress. At 6 o'clock is response, the immediate life saving phase, search and rescue, first aid temporary shelter. At 9 o'clock recovery, rebuilding homeless roads and jobs. When recovery ends, the hand point back to mitigation, starting a new loop. This continuous cycle reminds us the disaster work never truly finished. Each phase feeds the next. So all hazards, natural or man-made, are addressed through a four-phase cycle we have just discussed. Pre Preparedness, responses, recovery, mitigation. So preparedness, planning, training, and stocking resources before an event, and responses, immediate action to save lives and stabilize condition. Recovery, restoration and improvement of facilities, livelihood, and environment often framed as build back better. Mitigation, long-term structural and non-structural action to eliminate or lessen risk. Integrating climate adaptation and community participation across these phases enhances resilience. Key institutions and the framework in India. In India, the National Disaster Management Authority. We have National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, sets policies and issues hazards specific guidelines. Earthquakes, floods, chemical leaks, you name it. The National Disaster Response Forces in our allied team trained for everything from high angle mountain rescue to chemical spill contaminant. Technically, agencies provide early warning. The India Meteorological Department track cyclone and heat wave. The Central Water Commission, and this is we are getting in the mobile as SMS. Metropolitan Meteorological Department tracks cyclone and heat waves, and we always been informed through our mobile through SMS. The Central Water Commission forecast flood, the forest serves of India map, wildlife hotspots. All these agencies align with the Sendai framework of disaster risk reduction. A United Nations agreement that urges continue to understand risk, strengthen governance, invest in resilience, and build back better. After every event, India has pledged, for example, to explore cyclone early warning coverage and coastal districts to entire country. India, we have National Disaster Management Authority, National Disaster Response Forces, India Meteorological Department, Central Water Commission, Forest Survey of India, aligned with the Sendai Framework 2015 to 2030, emphasizing risk-informed investment, build back better. 3 Bs. And international cooperation. So these are the references I have used while making the slides, preparing the notes for your talk, and you can go through. And thank you very much for patience listening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.